welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. Actually, Shannon will be here momentarily. She is down in New Orleans, and she's going to be joining us from the 47th Annual Autism Society of America National Conference. So we're going to hear what's going on down there. But first, let's get to some in the news. And I'm sorry that I have to look down to read a lot. We don't have a teleprompter here in the studio. I don't know if any of you wonder why it's so effortless for news anchors to just look at the camera so they've memorized everything. They're reading from a teleprompter device. So if I cast my eyes downward, please excuse that, because I would love to be looking straight at you the whole time. There's a lot in the news this week. One of which was really fascinating to me, because I've always wondered about this therapy that I have never tried with my son. It's transcranial magnetic stimulation. I had read about it from time to time, and it seems as though there is evidence that suggests hope with this therapy. There is a mother who started a foundation to explore this and make it more available to others. The mother is a Minneapolis woman named Kim Hollingsworth Taylor. In 2012, her son, age 14 at the time, and on the high-functioning end of the spectrum, was part of a trial of TMS, once again, transcranial magnetic stimulation, that seemed to relieve a few of his autism symptoms for several days. It made him able to cope with stress and anxiety better, and cognitive tasks, and really key to this was the ability to read social cues that he had never had before. So it says that we all carry an invisible frame of reference in our heads that filters our experience. And apparently TMS has a way of kind of filtering these experiences, and that frame of reference gets turned upside down by a brief encounter with a powerful magnet. So, pleased with the results for her son, Taylor found a way to get her son more treatments in Boston twice a week over the course of 10 weeks, even though TMS had not been approved by the Food and Drug Administration for autism symptoms. By the way, it is still not approved by the FDA, so this is not commonly available. It can only be done by taking part in clinical trials. During this time, Taylor says her son's autism symptoms disappeared. He went from being a boy with no friends to being a boy who was asked to the homecoming dance by 4 different girls. Now, that seems like a miracle, doesn't it? The change thrilled her so much that she started a small nonprofit to advance research into the use of TMS. She has a background as a financial analyst in the medical technology industry. She called the foundation Clearly Present. So if you'd like to find more, I'm sure you can Google Clearly Present. The phrase her son used to describe how he felt after the treatment. It's like there's more of me here now, he told her. The problem is the benefits began to fade after just a few months. 3 years after his last treatment, Taylor's now 18-year-old son is back to where he was before he started TMS. And he says he doesn't want to try it again if it means disrupting the family life, moving to Boston with his father for another 3-month stretch. So here is Taylor, committed to organizing scientific research, soliciting funding, and she said she crawled on broken glass to get to make things easier for her kid. So she is profoundly sad that there's no place closer to home that could offer TMS, and she's frustrated that this is the case. So they're not really sure, that why this works, and researcher quoted in the article says that it's still in its infancy, and the studies have been very few, by the way. Just 13 in the medical literature to date. However, the very well-known John Elder Robison described his own experience in his latest book, Switched On, a memoir of brain change and emotional awakening. He said that alterations of TMS were life-affirming but they were tinged with sadness too, because his insights into other emotions showed him how troubled most people's inner lives are. That's a very, very interesting perspective, that perhaps that's something that so many on the spectrum are spared, knowing how troubling emotional inner lives are. So the best way to look at this is to go into, to see if there's clinical trials, and you can go to clinicaltrials.gov. That is clinicaltrials.gov, to see if they're doing any research on TMS. And the Clearly Present Foundation and Taylor are still trying to arrange for more studies to be done, because it's a very promising area. So there's been so much coverage of autism lately, in film, in television, so many books out there, obviously, with the rise of the epidemic. There's so much more that we can read and watch about it, and also less stereotypes. We've come a long way since Rain Man, and there's a new show that is on the BBC, and it's called The A Word. Obviously, there is a show here also, a series here on Autism-Live called The A Word. I don't know if they maybe got that title from us, maybe a good title. They heard it and took it, but perhaps it was just a coincidence. But the review that I have here said, from the Boston Globe, says that The A Word has really taken on autism and shown it in a smart, sensitive, and sustained way. It's the work of writer-producer Peter Bowker, who spent 14 years as a teacher to children with disabilities, so he certainly has insight into autism. And it focuses on a 5-year-old boy with autism, who they say is played by a remarkable young actor named Max Bento. His family, all residents of a sleepy, everybody talks kind of town in England's mountainous Lake District, in the weeks after he's been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. The A Word is primarily about the disorder and its impact, also broadly concerned with the issues of communication that plague every member of the Hughes household. There's an inflexible family patriarch, the grandfather. There is the boy's fierce, loving mother, and the husband that has very mixed feelings about the diagnosis, as so many parents do. And there are lots of other players in it, but overall it sounds as if the series is very well done. And the review goes on to say, what drives the show forward and makes it landmark in its portrayal of the disorder too often stigmatized or left undiscussed is that second all-important A word, acceptance. So it's on the Sundance Channel, not the BBC. It's a 6-part British series, so I take that back. It's not the BBC. It is on Sundance TV. So it said that it started debuting stateside Wednesday, which I believe is tonight. So Sundance TV, The A Word. You should take a look. A story about the CDC, Utah autism data. There has been a whistleblower lawsuit filed, and Dr. Judith Penrod Zimmerman, who is the former principal investigator for the CDC's Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network in Utah, has filed a whistleblower lawsuit in the U.S. District Court. Dr. Zimmerman charged University of Utah's researchers for CDC's network with publishing data under people's names who had not done the work, and the data contained uncorrected errors. Depositions from Zimmerman and her former colleagues suggest that the alleged data errors were serious and have the potential to produce major differences in reported autism rates. In the 2008 network report, Utah autism rates were the highest in the country at 1 in 47. In the 2012 report, Utah rates plummeted nearly 20%, 1 in 58, as most other network sites reported either rising or stable autism rates. So an analysis by Health Choice revealed that a number of criticisms of the CDC surveillance program, they had selected a partial and unrepresentative sample of states to track, changed the sample in a biased fashion over the years, and then took too long to report out the data. Today's 2012 report is over a decade behind the problem, giving us autism rates for children born 12 years ago. So a whistleblower lawsuit, once again, filed against the CDC in terms of the way it reported the rates of autism in Utah. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to come to you with Shannon, who is down at the Autism Society of America's National Conference, and we're going to find out what's going on there, who some of the great speakers are, anything that Shannon has heard this morning that she wants to talk to us about. And then after we speak with Shannon, we'll be talking a little bit about ACT Today, Autism Care and Treatment Today. I am the executive director of that organization. Dr. Doreen Grambouchet is the founder. And we're going to be talking about what we do with our programs across the country and how our grant programs work. And we're going to have Vera Diana, who is our grant assistant, join me to talk to you about that grant application process for those of you that want to learn more. So stick with us. We'll be back in a minute with my buddy, Shannon Penrod.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Hi, welcome back to Autism Live. I'm Lisa Ackerman. We're here doing allergy-free cooking, and I brought my sister with me today.
Jamie Davis, thanks for having me.
A lot of people are asking about a allergy-free breakfast, and breakfast can be full of crap.
But it's full of
cereal.
crap and it's hard to do. We
Yeah.
don't have time in the morning. We're in a hurry.
We're going completely nut-free. The recipe is not
Personality, we can't do anything
can't
about.
do anything about that. So we're going to start off first with I'm using sorghum and brown rice flour. I find the texture good, and I've added some flaxseed meal. We talked about that last time, flaxseed meal for poop. Almost every one of our kids has a poop issue. What's next on the recipe is the quinoa flakes, baking powder, cinnamon, and the xanthan gum. It brings the glutinous texture back into the flour. And often what happens with these recipes is they can fall apart. This one holds up nicely. I like it. For the folks that are egg-free, we have a ton of egg replacers. One of those can be the arrowroot starch or bringing back some additional flaxseed. So there's a lot of options to go eggless, but we're going to go egg full in this one. For sweetener, I use the maple syrup. I stay away from refined sugar. What I'm adding now is the coconut milk, maple syrup, and a little bit of the coconut oil. And we're going to add in the raisins, craisins, and chocolate chips at the end. I find that chocolate chips can coax people to eat some really amazing things. When we started, Jeff had 42 food allergies, so we had to get creative in how we cooked. So nuts were a big, big issue. What I like now is that he can tolerate so many more things after start doing this diet. So let me show you how you can deal with this sticky stuff here. You get your fingers really wet, and you can push it down. So my oven has been preheated. It's at 350 degrees. So we're gonna just throw this in. Like I said, I like it around 23 minutes, and the magic oven says, I'm done. Looks like,
Don't you love magic ovens? They're awesome.
there we go, pops right out. The texture of these, and it's so pretty, it looks almost like a big chocolate chip cookie, but you actually made it healthy. But you can be my guinea pig. Tell me what you think.
That looks really good.
Doesn't it? So the textures and the colors in there are just beautiful. So the raisins are for you, the chocolate chips are for your kid.
I can't believe it's gluten-free.
I know, right? It doesn't taste like, Crap. We're wrapping up another cooking show. If you have feedback, you can email us at autismlive@gmail.com. We're, of course, on Facebook. You could go to facebook.com/autismlive. And, of course, Talkin' Now has thousands of recipes. Join me there, and we can cook some more later on. So thanks for joining us.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
We are back, and I have got with me now on the phone my buddy Shannon Penrod, who is normally here with me in the studio for Let's Talk Autism. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Nancy. I'm here
How?
at the conference.
Yes.
Here's Wes standing right here with me.
Oh, and oh, great! I've got you and Vince. That's so wonderful. Glad to have you both with me. So, how is it? How is it down there in New Orleans?
Okay, well, let's start with hot and lucky.
Hot. Always, always, but I like that kind of weather. So you're there for the 47th Annual Autism Society of America National Convention, is that right, or conference?
Yes.
Okay.
Conference and exhibition. And Vince and I are at the card booth in the exhibition hall, and I wanted to talk to you about a couple of different things that they have going on here that I think are particularly cool. One of the first things that we noticed is that they have a badge system when we get here. You can get a green badge. It comes as a kit that you can attach to yourself. So there's a green badge, there's a yellow triangle, and then there's a stop sign. And the green badge says, you know, I'm approachable. I want you to come and talk to me. Anybody can come and talk to me. But I may need some pointers. I might have some difficulty. The yellow one says.
That sounds like one that sounds like one I would wear.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know that they've done this before. This is my first time.
No, I mean I said that sounds like one I would pick.
Oh, the green one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have trouble. But although, you know, I got one for myself. But then the yellow one says, if you don't know me, I would prefer that you not approach me because I'm, you know, making my way here. And the red one, which I'm particularly into, says, please do not approach me at this time. And I got one for me. I got one for you, Nancy, because the conference says anybody can use them. It's funny because I talked to Jem about it. Jem did not want them because he saw the green one says, I can communicate, but I'm having difficulty. And he didn't want the green one, but when I explained the yellow and the red one, he wanted the red one because there are times of the day when he just had enough.
Right.
And I love that he can wear that signal and everybody at the conference can know, don't go and talk to him right now. I think it's super duper smart. And he gave us that to Vince. Yes, I got to say.
Okay, great. Well, tell us what some of the great speakers are and what's going on down there.
You are really incredible authors that are going to be here, Nancy. You want to tell them about John Donovan and Karen Zucker? You know, they're the ones that did that book, Nancy, in a different key, The Story of Autism. It was one of two books that was just hotter than hot this year about autism. Of course, the other book, and that author is here as well, is Steve Silberman. We talked about that a lot, about neurotribes. He's going to be here speaking. Some of the people that are going to be speaking are people that are regulars on Autism Live. Jen Yakos is going to be speaking. And I'm going through our booklet here because they're all. Michael Tolson, the painter, is going to be painting here. I want to. So Jen's speech that she's giving is teaching perspective-taking skills to individuals with ASD. Love that. And then Kara Kaczynski, who's the popular OT, she's going to be doing a teen and his OT present executive functions and organization. She's actually doing it with her teenage son, which we're really excited about. And that's just like not even the tip of the iceberg. You know, that's just some of those things.
One day. I mean, this is a 4-day event that has tons of just great presenters and an exhibit hall that has everything you can think of from, you know, different services and you know, books and, you know, anything you can think of that's going to be able to support a family they have here.
Nancy, they've got a chair here it's called the Hug Me chair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's designed specifically for kids on the autism spectrum. I sat in it. It's wonderful. We're gonna be doing some Facebook Live interviews with people. There's a handwriting expert here, a woman who's on the spectrum herself who had handwriting issues, and she's got a new method of teaching people handwriting, which, you know, I'm really excited about because my son, we want him to have to read his own writing. So
Yeah.
she says she can help with that. There's just a lot here, and of course there's more exhibitors getting here and setting up. Later on today, we're going to do a Facebook Live with the couple that you and I talked about last year, the Autism-live couple that did their wedding, the
Yes.
all-autism wedding.
Yes.
Anita and her husband are here. We just met them. And we're going to be doing an interview with Michael Tolson, the savant painter.
Yes, who we've had on the show. Yeah.
Yes. In fact, Nancy, I was showing him, this could tell you, I was showing him some of the pictures of Wyatt's most recent paintings, and he is so excited about them and talking about his color choices and how defined his color choices are.
How we mix the media.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. Yeah, I've got to get. Okay, go ahead.
It's a pretty good time here, and it really hasn't even started yet.
Just kind of going.
Yeah, just in the setup phase. Vince and I are going to be here with Jem all week long at the card booth. So if people come to the conference, they want to stop by in the exhibit hall. We're right by where the big exhibition room is. Jem just interrupted the live interview to tell me that his phone charger died. The iPad charger died. Okay. All right. That didn't work. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, because we've been having trouble having the iPad charged, but we'll get fixed. We'll get that fixed. But really excited to be here. And again, we're going to be doing some Periscope stuff. We're going to be doing Facebook Live, and most importantly, Vince and I are going to be here talking with the people.
Talking with all the families.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are so many families here. It's so exciting.
Well, we hope that if you are down there at the conference, you will take time to stop by and say hello to Shannon and Vince. And we hope you enjoy it. And is there going to be a way to look at this, or is it streaming live? Do you know how can people go to the Autism Society of America's website to find out more about how to access some of these speakers?
Well, I know that the Autism channel, which is on Roku, is going to be streaming some live stuff. So if you have Roku, you can be watching the Autism channel for that. We're going to do, if you go on our Facebook, we're going to do some mini interviews on our Facebook Live, and check out our Periscope too if you're on Periscope, and we'll be doing some little catch-up stuff here too. But if you want to watch more of the conference stuff, make sure that you go to Roku and go to Autism channel.
Okay.
They're going to be doing cool stuff.
Okay.
And you know, I also didn't mention Sesame Street is here. And Julie's going to be doing an appearance. Everybody's going to get to meet and greet with Julie, the new character from Sesame Street.
Yes.
On the spectrum.
Yes, great. All right. Well, it sounds like lots of fun. I wish I was down there with you guys and, eating some crawfish and beignets and drinking chicory coffee. But I know you're busy working all day.
All about the boiled oyster.
All about the what? The boiled oyster?
Charbroiled.
Charbroiled oysters. That food in New Orleans is so good. Not very much of it on the GFCF diet, I might add. But the oysters are. All right. Well, we missed you this morning, Shannon, but I know that you'll be back with me here next week. And I wish you a great trip and a really productive conference. And I know you're going to be. You're on Facebook Live, right?
Yes, we already did one that's there on autism-live Facebook. This is a one-up, so we're going to be doing some interviews all throughout the week.
Yeah, definitely check it out each day. There'll be lots of great interviews, a lot of different things, and basically give everybody a snapshot of what's here.
Okay, so they can go to the Autism Live Facebook page.
Yes.
Okay.
Facebook and go to Autism Live.
All right, sounds great. All right, you guys have a great time, and I'll see you when you get home.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for filling in this morning with Doreen with me, and thanks for doing Shannon and Nancy all on your own.
You are welcome. Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the mission of ACT Today, Autism Care and Treatment Today, our programs, what we do, and how we might be able to assist your family. Stay with us.
complete swing on this wonderful day, this wonderful walk with Mr. Matt Asner. Talk to us about today's walk. Do we have any facts, figures, numbers, or just pure emotion?
Just pure emotion. I'm about to get the numbers. We'll see what it is.
Okay.
I think it's probably close to 1.6, probably. That's my feeling. But it's incredible. We had 55,000 people plus here today, and you know, I you know, honestly, I've been here 7 years. It gets better and better and better. So.
And really, what you fostered here today is hope. I know that's your favorite four-letter word.
Where are we without hope?
Where are we?
Really, I mean, seriously, where are we without hope? Hope is everything. Hope is eternal.
This is a pretty big event. Every year I love it. What does this event mean to you?
Well, I just think it's great that you see so many people coming out to support, autism.
So we're here with Max Burkholder. There's a whole community of people that are going to love you no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter what you do. And that's the autism community. Are you okay with this? Is this a good thing?
I'm pretty okay with it. This seems to be a pretty happy, supportive community.
Well, what did you learn about autism through portraying this wonderful character?
Sort of the individuality of it. You know, like with autism spectrum disorders, a tendency is to sort of generalize everybody with sort of the same degree of affliction as sort of exactly the same, and very generalize them a lot. But something I found while just talking to everybody, and that I tried to put into the characters, just the sense of individuality that all of them have, everybody has. And so at a certain point it became not really even portraying autism, it just sort of became portraying the character.
I want to thank you on behalf of everybody for what you do.
That's very sweet.
To bring awareness and to raise money. That's a tremendous, tremendous legacy. But as a dad, you've got other things that you're doing as well.
Yeah.
I want to know, as a family, if you have any advice, what's been something that's been helpful to you personally?
You know, get your autistic kids out in the community. I mean, my son's got a guide dog, so he goes to a lot of cool places. He surfs, he skis, does gymnastics. He's actually trying Hebrew school. I'm not quite sure if he knows what's happening there, but he does all kinds of cool things, and he has a lot of friends. Right now, most of his friends are the adults who take care of him, and over time, hopefully he'll have more friends who are his age, and you'll see him walking around, and people won't be nervous around him. The dog's been very helpful with that. It's like the dog is like the most infectious thing in the world. Like, everybody wants to be near the dog, and he sees that, and he gets some of that affection laid onto him. So as a family, you know, we're just there to support Tyler and make him happy.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Hi, welcome back to Autism Live. I'm Lisa Ackerman. We're here doing allergy-free cooking, and I brought my sister with me today.
Jamie Davis, thanks for having me.
A lot of people are asking about an allergy-free breakfast, and breakfast can be full of crap.
But it's full of
cereal.
crap, and it's hard to do. We don't have time in the morning. We're in a hurry.
We're going completely nut-free. The recipe is not
Personality, we can't do anything about.
Yeah, can't do anything about that. So we're going to start off first with, I'm using sorghum and brown rice flour. I find the texture good, and I've added some flaxseed meal. We talked about that last time, flaxseed meal for poop. Almost every one of our kids has a poop issue. What's next on the recipe is the quinoa flakes, baking powder, cinnamon, and the xanthan gum. It brings the glutinous texture back into the flour, and often what happens with these recipes is they can fall apart. This one holds up nicely. I like it. For the folks that are egg-free, we have a ton of egg replacers. One of those can be the arrowroot starch or bringing back some additional flaxseed. So there's a lot of options to go eggless, but we're going to go egg full in this one. For sweetener, I use the maple syrup. I stay away from refined sugar. What I'm adding now is the coconut milk, maple syrup, and a little bit of the coconut oil. And we're going to add in the raisins, craisins, and chocolate chips at the end. I find that chocolate chips can coax people to eat some really amazing things. When we started, Jeff had 42 food allergies, so we had to get creative in how we cooked. So nuts were a big, big issue. What I like now is that he can tolerate so many more things after start doing this diet. So let me show you how you can deal with this sticky stuff here. You get your fingers really wet, and you can push it down. So my oven has been preheated. It's at 350 degrees. So we're gonna just throw this in. Like I said, I like it around 23 minutes, and the magic oven says, I'm done. Looks like.
Don't you love magic ovens? They're awesome.
There we go, pops right out. The texture of these, and it's so pretty. It looks almost like a big chocolate chip cookie, but you actually made it healthy. But you can be my guinea pig. Tell me what you think.
That looks really good.
Doesn't it? So the textures and the colors in there are just beautiful. So the raisins are for you, the chocolate chips are for your kid.
I can't believe it's gluten-free.
I know, right? It doesn't taste like, you know, crap. We're wrapping up another cooking show. If you have feedback, you can email us at autism-live@gmail.com. We're, of course, on Facebook. You could go to facebook.com/autism-live. And, of course, Talkin' Now has thousands of recipes. Join me there, and we can cook some more later on. So thanks for joining us.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
We are back with Let's Talk Autism, and today Shannon is down in New Orleans with the Autism Society of America's National Conference. We just spoke to her on the telephone. She's having a great time down there, all kinds of fascinating speakers, and you can go to the autism-live Facebook page, and she will be streaming live some of the interviews, so I encourage you to do that. I thought I'd take the opportunity today to talk a little bit about the work we do at ACT Today, Autism Care and Treatment Today. As most of you know, I serve as the executive director of that organization, and I have been doing that for about a decade now, and very, very proud to do that work. And it's really has been a calling for me ever since my own son, Wyatt, was diagnosed around the age of 3, not really adequately diagnosed until he was 4. And it took me such a long time to figure out how to access care and treatment for him. In my former life, we're going to be showing you some slides here that are going to show you some of our programs. But in my former life, I was a television producer, an executive. I was vice president of Westinghouse Television, which is now a part of CBS Viacom. I produced many shows, including the long-running NBC talk show Lisa, Vicki with Vicki Lawrence, a show called PM Magazine that was syndicated all over the country. And I was one of those career women that kind of forgot to have the child. And then at the age of 45, my husband Reed and I started pursuing having a child. And due to his cancer diagnosis, which he battled off and on for 23 years, we looked into adoption. And after some failed adoptions and an adoption scam that was sort of worthy of a TV soap opera, we successfully adopted a baby from, there's my Wyatt. If I move this way, okay. This picture you see right next to me shows Wyatt before regression. I clearly remember that. The other photos show him after his regression, around 1.5 to 2. Is when I noticed him drifting away. He was totally on his developmental markers during his first year. We were deliriously happy. He was a beautiful, healthy baby boy, and he started to I started to first notice the differences sometime during his second year, that he became fussier, inability to sleep, very, very hyperactive. I think around 2, I really started to notice the difference in his development and his peers. Of course, I did not have other children, so I wasn't familiar with kind of how children developed. And a lot of people brushed it off as the terrible twos. And sometime during his second year, I put him into speech therapy, which was recommended by the preschool he was at. And that speech therapist never discussed autism with me. I, at that point, this was in 2004, the only thing I knew about autism was from seeing some autistic children when my brother was younger. I had a brother with Down syndrome, and I used to work with David at camps during the summer. And I remember once going into a classroom and going over to a boy who was in the corner, and he was rocking, and he was nonverbal, and he was rocking and going like this. And I remember saying to the leader of that particular day camp, let me go over and take this boy outside. And she said, "Oh, you'll never reach him. He won't be able to talk to you." And I said, "Well, is he deaf? Is he?" And she said, "No, he has something called autism, and he's locked in his own world." And yet those words reverberate to me now. You'll never reach him. He has something called autism. He's locked in his own world. That's what was thought at the time. This was in the late 1970s, and usually children like that were put in institutions. So I did have a lot of experience with special needs children because my brother had Down syndrome, and he lived with my parents up until his death at age 36. But autism was something that I thought of as locked in their own world. And the only symptoms I knew were hand flapping and toe walking. Wyatt did neither one. So when around the age of 3, a neighbor suggested to me that he might be autistic, I was very upset. And I said, "Well, I don't see any evidence that he has autism." And I called my pediatrician, and he kind of scoffed and said, "This is sort of the latest trendy disorder, and I see no evidence that Wyatt has autism." And I said, "Well, you haven't seen him since his 2-year checkup." And I had called him a few times saying that Wyatt had been having multiple tantrums a day, put his head through our kitchen window twice. And he said, "Well, boys are often delayed with language." Long story short, I took Wyatt in, and that day the pediatrician told me that he did not know what was wrong, but Wyatt was at least a year delayed. So then I went on that wild goose chase of finding out what the matter was. It took another year to get really an adequate diagnosis. He was not only autistic at that point, he was moderately autistic. And prior to that, he had been diagnosed with PDD-NOS by the school district. And I put him in a preschool that had other children, typical children blended, but their improvements weren't happening. I had no idea about ABA, had not even heard about it. And then when he was 4 years old, I went to a conference, and I heard Dr. Dorian Granpeche speak, and I heard the words ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis. And then I heard a brilliant doctor, a biomedical doctor named Dr. Andrew Levinson out of Florida, speak about the the influence of toxicity and environmental triggers in our children. And I remember calling my husband that day and saying, I finally found someone who's going to help our child. And a short time later, when Wyatt was just under 5, he received ABA therapy 30 hours a week beginning then, and he's still in ABA therapy, and we've done intensive biomedical. So moving on, Matt, I think everybody that watches our show knows that 1 in 68 children has a diagnosis of autism today. That boys, there's 1 in 42 boys. We also know that the autism prevalence figures are growing. It's the fastest growing developmental disorder in the U.S., and autism costs a family $60,000 a year on average. So, Act Today, you can go to the next slide there, Matt. The quarterly grant program that we have is where families around the country can apply for up to $5,000 for a grant for autism care and treatment. This is one of our grant moms in between me and Susan Campbell-Cross, who is one of our biggest supporters at Act Today. We pay providers directly to track where the money goes. Parents decide what to apply for and which provider, and parents can apply for anything that falls under care and treatment. This includes ABA, speech therapy, iPads, summer school, GPS tracking devices, sensory tools, biomedical treatments, supplements, social skills groups, and more. Our impact is funds granted, 1,375,000 to date, and number of grants given to date, 1,425. You see we reach all over the country. We have our Act Today for Military Families program. People want to know why that program. It's only one of ours, but that's because military families with autism endure really intense stressors as they fight the complex bureaucracy to get the services. They move on average every 2 years, and lengthy combat deployments and other things make that particularly difficult. We also have Act Today Espanol. That is Gabriela Tessier, who is an anchor at Univision, who's on our board, and Senator Kevin DeLeon, the current president of the California Senate. And we formed this to enhance autism awareness because the Latino population experienced the largest jump in autism rates than any other group, according to a survey in 2011. And so since 2014, we have hosted free autism conferences in Spanish across the country, across California. Safety Today, another big program, safety fencing, GPS, tracking devices, autism assistance dogs. Children with autism, of course, LOPE. Drowning is the #1 cause of death in children with autism, and safety is often as simple as swim safety lessons, which we have sponsored, GPS tracking devices, safety fences. This is Romario Snow with me getting a tracking device. Romario was on the streets for a month before he was found. We featured that case extensively on autism-live. So we have ABA today. And we also pay for copays. There I am with Wyatt a few years back. We have assisted technology today as one of our programs that provides iPads and apps for children. Now I have with me Viridiana Zuniga. Viridiana, thanks for coming on today and joining me. Viridiana is our grant assistant here at Act Today. And Viri, you're really the first, we call you Viri, you're really the first line of contact with the public.
I am.
Yes, so tell us what, first of all, give us information about how the grant process works. How do families apply for a grant? What would be the first step?
Well, our grants are given on a quarterly basis, like you said. We have 4 a year, where the third one is actually on its way. The last day for families to apply is July 31st for this one. And we usually encourage families to apply online on our website, which is act-today.org. They can find the application there, but we understand that some families don't have access to a computer. Some of families are applying for a computer or an iPad. So if they don't have access to a computer, they can definitely reach us at the office through email, and I'm usually the one that picks up the phone. So I'll help them. Either I'll send them the application, or if they're having difficulties filling out the application online, I'll guide them. I actually spent like 2 hours with a mom last week because she needed step-by-step information on how to fill it out, and that's what I'm here to do. So I'm glad I'm able to do a little bit for them to help get the help that they need.
Yeah, you know, Viridiana, as an autism mom, and I know our viewers out there can relate to this. There are days, and now being a single mom with my husband having passed away this past January, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And that's why I got into this, you know, advocating for families and being an advocate for autism care and treatment. Oftentimes for moms, we have a hard time just getting through the day and doing the things we need to do for our kids. And when you've got a child with autism in that mix, and possibly even more than one, it can be so overwhelming to have to go to a website to apply for a grant and to get all the materials. What are some of the materials that we do require, because by law we need to have these?
Yeah, we try to keep it not as many things, but there are 3 things that families do need to upload or send to us here in the office. They need to upload a proof of diagnosis from a doctor, school, IEP. We don't want them to go out and spend out money that they don't have. So whatever they already have, that's what they send to us. We also need provider information. So if they're applying for an iPad, we just want to know what type of iPad they want, how much it's going to cost. And we also need a tax return. Some families think, oh, are you looking only at our income? No, but we do need to look at low-income families, how much they make. But it's not the only thing our board members look at.
That's right.
Right. So they also look at the family situation. Some families have very sad stories, and that moves our board members. So, I mean, we always encourage them to put their story in there, because like I say, it's not the only thing we look at their income. We want to know a little bit about them.
Right, that's true. I want to, Matt, how much time do we have left? Okay. I do want to say that we would love to give out grants to every single family that applies. I don't think there's a single family that applies that isn't deserving.
Right.
But funding is an issue. All of our funds are raised privately, all of them. We don't receive any government assistance. We don't receive any grants through any federal programs. We occasionally will get grants from other organizations, but that's rare. So if you know of a way that you can help, if you want to throw a small fundraiser, we're doing an Act Across America campaign this summer and fall. Please spread the word. Go to act-today.org. And Viri, I want to thank you for joining us. And you are also bilingual. I want to say that if a family needs to speak to Viri and wants to speak in Spanish, tell us the number that they can reach you.
They can reach us at 818-340-4010. I'm going to say it in Spanish. 818-340-4010.
Okay. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I miss my buddy Shannon. She'll be back next week. And meanwhile, as she would say, give your kiddos a hug from me. And I say, give yourselves a hug from me. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.